Hey guys, for this question I'm going to be solving the Leetcode reverse the linked list question. And for this question we're simply given a linked list and we want to reverse it. So for an example here we have a linked list of 1 to 5. Each pointer is pointing to the number above it by 1. And we just want to reverse it so that it's in descending order. So it goes 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. This question is pretty simple. It just might seem a bit tricky at first. But essentially, let's take a look at a smaller example. If we have just 1 to 2 and 2 points to nothing, we essentially just need to keep track of 2 pointers so that we're able to reverse this. One pointer is pointing to the element before it, and one pointer pointing at the current element that we're on. And using these 2 pointers, we can manipulate this data structure so that we end up with the reversed structure. So for example, if we have the previous pointer, initially it's going to start out as nothing because it's empty. We have nothing previous, like we're going to start iterating from here, from number 1. And our current pointer is going to be where we're starting at, which is going to be 1. And we're going to set that to the head of the linked list. And now we can just do a while loop while we still have a node that we can point at. And now what we want to do is, first we can store the next element, which is going to be this 2 here, by doing current.next. And we want to do that because we're going to modify this current.next so that we can make this arrow point to the left side instead. So we don't want to lose a reference to this 2. So we're going to store it here in this next variable. And once that's done, we can simply do current.next to be pointing to the previous instead. So now 1 points to null, which is our previous in this case. And now we just need to update the pointers, the current and previous. Now the current is going to be instead the next pointer here that we stored earlier. And the previous is going to be, actually we should do this first. The previous is going to be the current pointer, which is going to be 1 in our case. And the previous and the current is going to be the next pointer that we stored earlier. So walking through this loop, when we start at 1, we're going to store the next to be 2. So next here is equal to 2. And now we do 1.next is equal to previous, which in this case is null. And now the previous is going to be the current, which is 1. So previous, for the next loop, previous is going to be 1. And the current is going to be 2 for the next loop. And we just repeat this structure until we end up with current is equal to null. And this exits the loop. And once that's done, our previous in this case is going to be set to 2. And we can simply return the previous pointer. That made sense. Now let's jump into the code and implement this, which is going to be pretty much the same. So like I said, we start with the previous is equal to nothing, because we start with nothing there, and the current we'll just set it to head. And in the end of our loop, we want to return previous. So now we just do an iterative approach. All current, we store the next pointer, which is going to be 2 in our case, since we start as 1. And we can update the next pointer here to point to the previous. And now we want to store previous as our current, and our current to be pointing at the next one, which is next. It might be a bit confusing just looking at the code, but hopefully the explanation diagram here made sense. And I think that should be it to solve this question. I hope that made sense. Thank you for watching.